Okay, so today we are going to evaluate functions. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our graph and our drawn function here, and we're going to try and figure out if we are missing a y value. We're going to try and find that using the function. And if we're missing an x value, we're also going to use our function to figure out that x value. Okay, so the notation we're going to be using is f of x equals y. We're going to see that. So if we are given an x, then we need to figure out our y. If we're given a y, then we are going to figure out our x. So our first little set of examples here is if we're given x, then we're going to find the y. So this means if we are trying to find the y, if we're given an x, because all of these were given an x, see how there's an x in between the parentheses, now we have numbers there, so we are given the x. If we need to find the y, we need to look up or down because that y-axis goes up and down, so, right? Our y-axis goes up and down. So if we're trying to figure out a y, we also, you, need to go up or down to figure that out. So here's what I mean. We are given f of -8 equals what? So we are trying to figure out what our y is. We know x is -8. So I'm gonna look at the x-axis here, right? If we're given an x, you look at the x-axis, and I'm gonna find -8. So here's my -8. I need to figure out the y. So I need to look up or down, and I'm gonna write a little bit more, right? Because this shape here is my function. Well, this -8, I have function above it, so I'm gonna go up, and at -8, here's where my function lands. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look across here. So we have a y value of 4. So I figured out that my y value when x is -8, my y value is 4. Let's look at the next one. So the next one we have f of 8, and again, this is my x, equals blank. So we're trying to figure out the y. So again, we are given an x, so I'm gonna look at the x-axis and I'm gonna find 8. Here it is. I have to go up or down when I'm looking for the y. So this is for y. And I see that my function is above me, and it's a closed dot, so that works out really nicely. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the y-axis to figure out what my y number is. And my y number in this one is a 1. Looking at the next one here, we have f of -4. So that's my x. So I'm gonna look here for -4. I'm gonna look. Oh, my -4 is actually an x-intercept. That's kind of nice. So we need to figure out what the y is. Well, my y in this case, if I look at my y-axis, happens at the origin. So that's going to give me a 0. All right, so now if you're given y, find the x. Make sure you fix that. So in this one, we're given the y, we need to find the x. So this means for here, we're going to look right or left at the function because the x-axis is right and left, right? See, the x-axis goes right and left. If we're trying to figure out x values, we should also go right and left to figure out what those x values are. So let's start with this first example. So we have f of x equals 6. So this is my y. And then see, this is nice. It says then x equals. So it already tells us that we need to figure out what x is. So what is x? Well, first we're going to look at the y-axis. So here's my y-axis, right? Because we are given y. And I'm gonna find 6. So I'm gonna go down. Okay, here's my 6. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look to the left and right. So to the right, I don't see the function, but to the left, hey, I see something right here. There's my function. Now I'm gonna go down, and that is my x value. My x value when y is 6 is -7. Okay, so next we have a y value of -2. We are trying to figure out what is x. So I'm going to look at my y-axis for -2. Here it is. So here's my -2. I'm going to look to the left and to the right and see we have actually two different answers. We're going to write both. So I have two different answers. Here's my first one. That x value there is 2. And then when I go to the left side here, that x value above me is a -3. Last one, we have when y is 0. So f of x equals 0, so that's my y. Then x is, well, we don't know. We got to figure that out. So when y is 0, that's right here. So I'm going to look to the left and to the right, and I actually have two different answers. So Here's my first one. It's already colored in green. We actually figured that out earlier. That x value is -4. But if I go to the right, I also have another function that also passes through when y is 0 at 6. That is my other answer. We will do a few more together in class.